who isn't as old as you'd think because the women in my family have babies real young by mistake, mostly, once told me that in New Jersey, when she was a kid, there was this amazing night before Halloween thing that they called Cabbage Night. On this night, parents actually sent their kids out into the night to go crazy. Grandma says that there was only one Cabbage Night rule in her house: be home by midnight. Even on a school night. I mean, you can do a whole lot of very bad and very funny stuff between sunset, let's say around 6, and midnight, right? Here's Grandma's list of stuff they'd do. Run through people's yards and leap over their fences, screaming like banshees, throw eggs at everything and everybody in sight, put dog poop in paper bags, light the bags on fire, and throw them onto someone's front porch, then watch the homeowner, usually the dad if there's one around, stamp out the fires and spray himself knee-deep in shit, hit kids with sacks of flour until everybody is white as ghosts, steal anything that strikes your fancy and isn't nailed down, tip over gravestones, tie nerdy kids to gravestones and leave them there until about 11:58, break empty beer bottles after you drink the beer that somebody's cool uncle bought you, on curbs, and threaten to cut other kids' throats, set out nails point up on the streets, hoping to pierce car tires, and, well, whatever kids could think of. I mean, it's just so unbelievable to me that parents let this stuff go on year after year. Grandma says that when she was a kid, she came home at midnight every year bruised, covered in yolk, flour, and beer, half drunk and all the way exhausted. And here's the best thing. No one cared. In fact, her parents hadn't even bothered to wait up for her. Grandma says her folks figured, what the hey, better the kids get this shit out of their system once a year than dribble out bits of badness every other day on the calendar. So, they just said, go ahead and get it over with, just don't kill anybody, okay? I swear, this is all relevant to me and Sylvie's own little Cabbage Night performance because, as I believe I mentioned, we are kids. Hospice hostages are not. Luckily, that was one of the days that Sylvie was feeling strong enough to get up, or she made herself strong enough, because I'd been bugging her for 3 days, telling her how funny this whole thing was going to be. Anyway, we waited until 5:30 p.m. October 30th. The harp lady knocks off, unless someone requests her services, at 5 p.m., and 5:30 is when most of the long-faced loved ones show up to visit, and the nurses are real busy with supper trays and whatnot, so here's what we did. We donned our pre-planned, not-so-gay attire in our separate rooms, and then we wheeled ourselves quietly into the little lobby, and we took up the harpy's usual space. We sat in our wheelchairs with, insane death mask makeup on our faces, pale green with big black circles around our eyes and streaks of red dripping from our lips. One of Sylvie's little brothers brought her a vampire makeup kit and had the sense to keep his trap shut about it. Good kid. And we had my collector's item Black Sabbath t-shirts on, and Sylvie, it surprised me that she had the energy, but the girl was really into it, I guess. She had made a big red devil fork thing out of an IV pole. She actually painted the whole thing with nail polish, a real project, and she was holding on to that. And I'd put one of my uncle's rave tapes, all screaming cool distortion, into the CD player on my lap, and we blasted that sucker every time some poor fool stepped off the elevator. And I held up my sign, "Going down. This means you," written in fake flames. Whenever somebody gasped and backed up, me and Sylvie, we cackled and screeched like insane demons. Okay, so it was just a childish joke. Funny as all hell, though. But Sylvie, that girl is much tougher than you'd think, given she's about 5 feet nothing and bald. She took it maybe a smidge too far. See, she'd planned something she didn't tell me about, something totally in the Cabbage Night tradition that she'd come up with on her own and kept quiet about. And she pulled it off without blinking an eye. Here's what Sylvie did. She reached behind her back and pulled out a cigarette lighter and 3 boxes of Kleenex. She was quick as anything. She clicked the lighter and lit those babies up, 1, 2, 3, and threw them down on the floor.